Good afternoon and welcome to Being with Dr. Z. It has been a while, but what a way to start off Women's History Month by spotlighting some of the amazing women that are in my life. And so today I am speaking with Mary Evans. She is a community correspondent and activist, not only here in Ohio, but nationally. And so I just want to welcome you today, Mary.
Thank you so much for having me. I really, really appreciate it.
Absolutely. So, Mary and I met a while back, both as formerly incarcerated leaders in Ohio. She is doing some amazing work and has been doing work over the years to really elevate the voices of people impacted by the system. So, would love, Mary, for you to just start out, just to give a little background of like who you are, and
Mhm.
then we'll just kind of talk a little bit about your current work that you're doing as well.
Okay, cool. So my name is Mary Evans. I'm originally from Gallipolis, Ohio, racially disparate town. I got caught trafficking and was ultimately sentenced to 8 years in prison. While I was at Ohio Reformatory for Women, I just kind of wanted to do something different. I was doing like the basic, inpatient programming that they have, mental health. I was trying to get as many certificates as I could and like make a change because when you have a sentence of 8 years, you just, in my mind, I felt like, well, I have to come back a changed person. I don't want to be one of these people who did nothing and, ultimately come right back. And so I signed up for classes. And right when I signed up for classes, Sinclair, they transferred me to Dayton Correctional. And that was probably one of the best things in my life. A lot of people think that Dayton Correctional, where it's a maximum prison, even though they hold minimum security people, like that's what I was when I went, they thought, it's restrictive. But I loved the small community of it. It felt really inclusive. Whereas at Marysville, it was so large and predominantly white people identifying as white, especially in the administrative positions. And I've said it a million times. When I was at Marysville, that's when I knew that the judicial system was specifically designed to oppress people of color. Some of the things that I've seen there, some of the racial um, profiling and attacks, and I say attacks like putting people in the hole or making sure that someone doesn't get to do a program or something. I've seen a lot of that stuff happening there, and I was just like, wow, I always thought prison was going to be a place where I can get myself better. At Dayton Correctional, I was able to do that. I'm thankful for Vivian Covington. At the time, she was the warden's assistant, and Tyrone McConnell, who I believe is still there. Now he's the warden's assistant, but he was the unit manager administrator. And they allowed a lot of great programming to come in. And I got the opportunity to do Antioch College. And man, was that like one of the life changing things for me. I'd never heard about bell hooks or Audre Lorde or W.D. Du Bois as a philosopher. I'd always been taught John Locke and, this basic Black history growing up where I grew up. So it kind of like blew my mind and gave me a new perspective, and I wanted more. So I wrote to them while I was incarcerated, and they actually gave me a full ride. And I paroled to them. My credits transferred from the higher education and prison program that I was attending, and I graduated and I got a job as a student. I'm the first student undergrad to have an NPR affiliated radio show. I hadn't even graduated yet and had gotten reentry stories on NPR. So, yeah, that's a little bit about the way I started doing this work. I created reentry stories to give folks space because when I was incarcerated, I felt like no one could hear me. And so I just want voices to be heard, and that's what I do.
I love that. The licensing piece is a huge issue, and so I'm grateful that you lifted that up because there are so many of us that are continuing to fight to get licenses reinstated, and understanding that a lot of these fields, although they talk about second chances, their practices don't always align with that. So I'm grateful that you elevated that voice of someone who has seen the other side of that process, as well as educating people right around that the expungement of records and sealing, like in the fact that there are opportunities and there are organizations that are out there doing that work to help people for free, right, to get it taken care of. So thank you for lifting those stories up. So share with us about what you're currently working on. What are some of the projects that you have going on right now?
I had took on a position at the Alliance for Higher Education in Prison, a great place. The executive director actually seen me on a panel and immediately started inboxing me saying, "Can I please talk to you?" Ved Price, an amazing individual, a great leader, um, offered me that opportunity. Well, I don't know everything. You know, I do have a communications degree and I have elevated. I'm a journalist. I've been published in several publications, the Cincinnati Enquirer, the Dayton Daily News, and I'm working on something right now that I hope to get into Politico because it's very controversial, very much so. And I just, it was a lot to take on, and my first love is radio and space and being in the community and being boots on the ground. And yeah, with that position, I was able to help the community that I primarily want to serve, but it wasn't in a way that I wanted to. So I've kind of like stepped back from that. And I'm doing part-time work for them and still providing communication support, and very grateful to be a part of a lot of projects they have going on right now. They have partnered with W.W. Norton. You can write to the Alliance for Higher Education. You can apply. Go on their website. There's an application. And if you're a higher education in prison educator, you can get some books, brand new books. I mean, what? Incarcerated students are going to have books? I don't know anybody else that's doing that. And the Alliance is definitely, oh man, they've got some, we talk about getting these, certifications and stuff while you're incarcerated and getting these degrees, but what does it mean without the workforce? What does it mean without that opportunity? What does it mean without internships? And I can come and show you a piece of paper, but if I don't have the experience, and so they're trying to make a way for that to happen and for that individual to get a livable wage. You hear me? And so, like, real money paying to these incarcerated students for internships, I think they're going to change the world. I believe in them so much, and I'm just thankful to be a part of that. And so that's what I do. I'm still with WYSO. I'm in my 5th season of Reentry Stories. And right now I am interviewing people who have went through the Ohio expedited process. A lot of us don't know about it. They don't advertise this kind of stuff, these resources that could actually help us be better in society and be a better contributing person. They keep it secret, and it's so weird to me. You would think that you would want to use that to draw people in and build community and constituents even for the elected officials. Like, I don't understand. But it's not for me to understand. The government wasn't designed for me to understand. This whole process wasn't, but it's just really strange. And so I'm still doing that and giving space. And I'm at Central State at WCSU full time. I love it there. We've done some amazing historical things so far. We broadcasted live from Dayton, Ohio. So we actually left Wilberforce and we had a live broadcasting at the Dayton Metro Library, and I did fundraising. And I mean, I'm just trying to add all kinds of things to my resume. And I actually raised $1,000. And I was like, hey, that's better than nothing, and I was really, really excited. That was my second time fundraising. The first time was at Antioch College during the reunion that I helped co-produce. And, that was just a great experience. Just like learning so much at WCSU. We just got a show nationally syndicated as well. And that's huge. Trent Darby's been there forever. He's an alma mater, and I think he's deserving of that. And it's called Funky Friday. And, a lot of people think, oh, we're just jazz, but we actually jam over there at 88.9 FM. And I like being there, and I like being on the campus. I like the atmosphere. I kind of am jealous that I didn't get to have that HBCU experience. And I wish that could have been applied to my education. I mean, I did have opportunities too with the Sochi program while I was at Antioch College, but it was always like the same classes that I needed would be offered at Antioch at the same time that was at Central State. There was never like an off time. But I think about getting my master's in business there just to be able to have that. I think to be around elitism that looks like me might change my perspective even more and help me enhance who I want to be. And so, yeah, I think about it a lot. Very admirable of everyone who's had an HBCU education for sure. And so, like, that's what I'm doing right now. And just freelancing, and of course, my baby, my pride and joy, the journalism lab. We finally were able to get our 501(c)(3) status. We've been working with Dayton Public Schools, high schoolers, teaching them about community corresponding. I mean, everyone has something that they're passionate about or that they believe in their community. And I think it's important for people to know that you don't have to really go to school and have these skills. I mean, I get to work with three amazing seasoned journalists. I mean, Stephen Starr has been in BBC. He works for National Geographic, and Nick Kirkman's a editor at Dayton Daily News, and Stephen Starr is a newspaper photographer and has been for 23 years and a beat reporter. And they chose me to come in, and like they're actually helping me enhance and like break generational curses. Like I'm part of a 501(c)(3) organization, and we're thriving and getting grants. And Senator Sherrod Brown wrote me that personal letter, and I've been working with him, and he found grants for us that we could, serve the communities that I'd like to serve, like at-risk youth, formerly incarcerated, and show them these journalism skills. I love journalism. It is a career pathway. I am an attestment of that. You know what I mean? You can see it, like, and your voice can be powerful, and a pen is powerful. And I love that form of art, and that'll probably be something I do for the rest of my life. I'd love to be able to teach it at some point, but yeah, that's what I'm doing.
That's so awesome. It's such a like eclectic portfolio. So you have like it's things that you are passionate about and align with like who you are, but in like all these different capacities. So I just love that, and the fact that you're able to get those experiences and just bring I think a different perspective, right? To this work, and also be an example of this is what a second chance looks like, right? Like when you give people the opportunity, when you take the time to actually get to know people as people, and connect with people, and the things that they're passionate about, just how far we can go, in this work. So if you had to give some words of encouragement for those people that are still in their like reentry process, people that are just coming home, people who may have been home for a while but continue to kind of struggle in this space, like what would be just some words of wisdom or encouragement that you would give?
Find something higher than you that you believe in. Mine's Jesus Christ. So find something that you believe in and let that guide you. Because every time I try to control the situation, I go to jail. I already know. So when you can actually give that up and believe in something higher than you, and believe that thing's gonna guide you. Okay, Cecil, thank you. My cat's crazy. That was crazy as hell right now. But it's like if you believe in that and you let that guide you, that'll take you places that you've never been. I mean, I know that none of this has been me. None of this, because I'm always quick to think about survival. And I mean, and as a Black woman growing up in the environment that I grew up in, I can't help but to still kind of have that. But it's like way back here now, like I'm in a place where it's like, man, there's so many other ways to find stability, professionally, financially, spiritually, emotionally, and just thinking about life like that, and it'll change everything for you. That's what I would tell them. And truly believe, if you can believe in something that can take you down a wrong path, believe in something that might lift you up out that and take you somewhere else. And that's what I tell them for sure.
Absolutely. I love that. I love that. And so how can people get in contact with you if people are interested in reaching out or learning more about what you're doing or even supporting your work? What's the best way for them to reach you?
They can always reach me at the journalismlab.org. We have a contact tab, and I help manage the website, and I'm very very adamant about responding to people or adding to our newsletter. I do not mind to give away the skills that I have if it's going to help someone in my community get something out that means something to them, and that might change someone's perspective, or might be something that someone else wants to say. They can find me there. I'm on Facebook, Mary Evans. My profile picture is the Reentry Stories logo. I'm on Instagram at Mary Evans 623. I have a WordPress website called mevans623 at WordPress. You can find me everywhere. Google me even. I'm on the Google, so like however, wherever. But I want to also tell you something too. So Pell has been important, and Pell is getting ready to be reinstated July 1st. And so the question I asked was, how much did it cost for me to go to school while I was incarcerated? And was my Pell Grant package overpackaged? And if it was, who got that refund check? Because my family didn't, and neither did I. And so I'm trying to figure out what happens there and what's the reason why I was overpackaged. I wasn't like I had to pay for books or anything because we didn't share them. And so it's going to probably cause a lot of controversy what I'm working on. And I'm not trying to call anyone out. I'm just trying to make things right with, like, if I'm owed money, and I think a lot of us might be if we're in higher education prison programs, I'm trying to encourage people to go to that institution and get your student records. I mean, there has to be a copy of something somewhere, and figure it out, and join me in this battle to like make sure that the right people are inside those walls educating our people, and that's what's really important to me. I don't want someone there that is just there for the money, and you're doing a disservice to the incarcerated individual and providing watered down curriculum with no internships. So if I don't have that work experience, how am I supposed to thrive? So yeah, that's
Yeah.
kind of like where I'm at with it right now.
Yeah, piece is really huge, and I'm grateful for a lot of my colleagues that have been working in that higher ed and prison space. That is the space that I am passionate about, of course, and worked on that Pell reinstatement fight for some time, and just grateful for that. But I think what you just said was important, right? Like everyone shouldn't have access to those inside, right? People need to make sure that these colleges and universities are vetted and that people are not being taken advantage of. And it is important to think about, like, when it comes to funding and packages and things like that, that it is being done properly. And if there's a refund, you're right, who's getting that money, where is that going? So I'm grateful that you are exploring that, right, and investigating that, because I think that that's something that's important, especially as we move forward. And this is, it's opening back up. So I can remember when I was enrolled in school, there were programs inside, in Ohio, and we would go as college students and, have joint classes sometimes inside. One of my professors worked at the prison. And so to think about like those opportunities being afforded again to students on a greater level, even though Ohio had a lot of second chance sites previously, just thinking about the impact nationally, I think is so important. So just definitely appreciate your work in that, and your contributions. I hope that people will take the time to reach out to you and just hear more about the work that you're doing, how they can support you, for sure. And thank you for being my first guest as we kick off Women's History Month. And I'm so looking forward to connecting again in person. It's been a little while now, so thank you so much. And for any of our guests who are visiting this page, Mary's information will be in the contact section, so you can always reach out to her. We'll have her website there to make sure that you can reach out if you have any additional questions, or you want to send some money her way to support the work that she's doing, and all of those good things. So thank you again, Mary, for joining me today.
Thank you for having me. I really, really appreciate it. And I hope to hear from someone. Bye.